A Beacon in the Dark by Nohai Jiachi. Chapter 6. The Evil. UA is so unlike middle school, it almost feels like that was a lifetime ago, despite the fact his last day of middle school had been just over a month prior. Of course, that is a given, considering the general subjects treated in the hero course, but even the more normal stuff feels new to him. The teachers don't pretend the impossible from him, nor they put him aside, completely ignoring him just because that's easier. They work with him instead.
Midoriya, I usually have my students read in class. Can you do that?
Samantha-sensei asked him, earnest. I could with my braille display, but it will be pretty slow compared to the others. The teacher hummed, thoughtful.
Not that I would mind, of course, but if you'd prefer something else, do you have in mind an activity that could come to you naturally? I'll look at other options in the future, but for now.
Well, I could listen and provide a text analysis at the end, maybe?
That seems like a nice solution for the time being.
A really heavy hand on his shoulder.
If you think of any other activity later, do let me know.
President Mike seems to have taken a liking to him after Izuku proposed to sustain a direct conversation in English with him instead of writing sentences on the blackboard as the others did, which would result in disaster. You're a bit stiff, but you have a good basic grasp of the language, the teacher loudly complimented him after. Good job! Let this be of example to your classmates. All the other subjects went in similar fashion, with him working with their teachers in finding a workaround that would put him on even footing with his peers. It became clear that his academic results were nothing to scoff at, and soon enough some of his classmates started coming to him for help. Midoriya, can you explain this math problem to me? I didn't get a thing. Kaminari would whine, melting on his desk, making Izuku laugh before he'd scoot over to leave him some space to sit at his side, patiently explaining what he could. No one tried to play pranks on him, or make fun of him, or even show the tiniest doubt Izuku couldn't do something. If only it was clear that what Uraraka had said to him at the end of their third day was true. His classmates deeply respected him. It made him feel so normal. And not only that, they were friendly. They liked Izuku. They would laugh with him, not at him. Pranks were a daily occurrence, but they were always evenly distributed, and they never were malicious or made anyone feel bad. His classmates seemed delighted to try to sneak up to him and fail every single time, making amazed and amused sounds every time Izuku would stop a hand ready to poke him without even turning, saying the name of whoever was trying with a smile in his voice. The blind guy is the only one that can see the invisible girl. Hilarious. Kachan commented one day in his usual brash tone after Izuku caught apparently nothing midair over his shoulder, and then Hagakure, which had probably shed her entire uniform for the sole purpose of trying to be the one person finally taking him by surprise, whined, "How?" Izuku ignored him, laughing joyfully with her. They were on the bus on their way to their next training session, Izuku internally laughing, and the banter happening between his classmates while they spoke of their respective quirks. Kaminari, calling Kachan's personality a turd steaming in sewer water, had been both hilarious and on point. He and Kachan had mostly ignored each other after that second-day disaster, and yet everyone had come to an understanding of what kind of person Kachan was. Soon they came to a stop, being guided inside a giant dome. Izuku couldn't even feel the tip of it for how high it was. Inside, all sorts of simulated grounds from a city on fire to flooded areas. Aizawa had given them a brief explanation of which kind of exercise they will be working at today. You couldn't wait to start. Everything seems so exciting. They met with a light Izuku wasn't familiar with. Uraraka at his side, excitedly gasping, "It's Space Hero number 13! One of my favorites!" After all the due introductions, 13 started to explain what the place was and what they were all going to do, but Izuku's attention was elsewhere. There was something weird at the center of the dome. He could feel a large group of lights, 30, 40, but they weren't clear as usual. It was as if he was searching for them through a thick fog of some sort of energy. Not to mention, they were all levitating a few meters off the ground. Sensei? He says, raising a hand. I'm sorry to interrupt. It was my understanding that it was just us and you teachers here today.
That's what I said, yes.
Aizawa Sensei replies, perplexed. Then why are there at least 30 people standing right in the center of the dome? Something weird happens. Aizawa Sensei's light spikes up as if he's suddenly scared, and he yells, Group together and go back to the bus, now! 13, escort the students! Now, kid. An unknown voice right behind Izuku. He doesn't have the time to turn around as a new light engulfs him. It's not nice to give us away like that. Izuku's world goes dark. Aizawa can only watch powerless as a black mist appears behind Midoriya, engulfing him, and then the boy is gone. He has to take the students away right now. They are already starting to panic after seeing their classmate taken away. Logic dictates he should go with them, make sure the majority of them are safe. Midoriya! God damn it!
Everyone don't panic. 13 will escort you out and alert the school,
he says as 13 is trying to herd them back. Sir, Midoriya! Ida explains, his voice betraying a tremble despite his best effort to sound controlled.
I'll take care of him, now go.
All Might is arriving, right? Asui asks over one of 13's arms. Aizawa exchanges a knowing look with 13.
You have to go and call the school. Now! Go!
He turns before anyone else had the time to ask something, jumping down the staircase leading to the center of the dome, where around 30... Just as Midoriya had said, unsavory-looking individuals were waiting. He doesn't hear the screams already too far. Had he turned around, he could have seen the last particles of the black mist disappearing in the air, and with them, most of his students. Izuku's world of lights emerges back again as he unceremoniously rolls on the ground, spit out by that weird force that had taken him in. What is this, Hirokiri? Another voice unknown to Izuku, low and scratchy. He focuses, turning toward the source of the voice, and his heart skips a beat. Not once had he ever felt a light like that. If he had to find the word to describe it, it would be anti-light. Nausea creeps in his stomach just by the feel of it. Izuku doesn't know who this person is and what their intentions are, but he knows something for sure. This person is the embodiment of evil.
Trouble. It's what it is.
The voice that had taken Izuku away from his class, Kurogiri, he presumes, replies,
This kid ratted us out. Saw us long before I opened the portal somehow.
Huh? The evil says.
I almost didn't manage to scatter the other kids around. Thankfully, instead of immediately obeying their teachers, they hesitated. Should have known better.
Kurogiri continues.
The plan almost blew up thanks to this one kid.
Really now? Izuku scrambled back up on his feet, knees like jelly. He took a step back as the evil came closer to him. Interesting. Say, little one, you don't happen to know where All Might is by any chance? Izuku's head suddenly feels light with fear. Oh, what do you want from him? He manages to rasp out. Izuku can't be sure, but he has the impression that the evil is smiling. Aizawa finally sees him. He's dodging and attacking as he frantically searches for Midoriya. Group fights had never been his forte, and he needs to find Midoriya and get him out of here. Relief washes over him when he finally catches a glimpse of the boy. He seems unharmed, standing near what he can only imagine is the man responsible for the teleporting mist going by his appearance, and another individual, tall and thin, a series of pale, weird hands hanging all over his body. He starts to attack more furiously now, downing the inexperienced thugs around him like flies, clearing himself a path toward Midoriya. If he can catch him, he should be able to make it to safety with him as long as he keeps his eyes pointed on the man with the teleportation work.
We've got a visitor incoming,
Kurogiri says before the evil could answer Izuku's question.
Oh, your teacher is coming for you. How touching.
The evil says. Izuku catches the familiar aura of Aizawa Sensei's light at his left, rapidly closing in.
Kurogiri.
It happens really fast. Izuku feels Kurogiri's light moving in a strange way. It's a portal. He called it a portal. And the evil's not light grows darker on his fingers as if his killing instincts are concentrating in those specific points. He raises his arm. Izuku bolts, instinct kicking in. Sensei! The portal opens near Aizawa's head just as Izuku is crashing into him with all his strength. The evil's hand comes out of it, and instead of closing around Aizawa Sensei's head, the 5 fingers graze Izuku's cheek under his right eye. Pain is almost unbearable for a second. Aizawa was so close to Midoriya when the boy had suddenly turned and charged right at him with a shout. Then crash Midoriya's entire body weight, pushing him back as he screams in pain and tumble down in a mess of limbs.
Oh,
the man with the hands says, monotone.
I missed.
When they stop, Aizawa's back against a boulder. Midoriya is breathing heavily and uneven. Aizawa raises the boy's face to his, a hand under his chin. The skin on the boy's right cheek seems to have fallen off clean, muscles visible and out in the open. Blood is already rolling down his jaw and neck drops, staining Aizawa's scarf. Sensei! Midoriya pants, his right eye twitching in pain. Don't let him touch you!
Midoriya, what did I tell you about jumping in situations where you know you will get hurt?
Izuku manages to let out a little weak laugh. I didn't really know what he could do. I just had the feeling it wasn't anything good. He pants, slowly standing with Aizawa Sensei's hands steadying him. Besides, if I hadn't jumped, Sensei would be dead. Aizawa doesn't seem to have anything to say to that. His hands on Izuku's arm squeeze him a little. Midoriya. His voice is dead serious. Izuku snaps to attention, keeping a metaphorical eye out to Kurogiri and the evil that seems to not particularly care about closing the distance between them for the moment.
I don't want to say this,
Sensei continues,
but if we want to make it alive out of here, I will need your help. Can you tell me something useful about these people?
Izuku coughs. The one with the portals. There's a delay, I think. A couple of seconds, more or less, between the moment his portal moves into position and the moment it actually opens.
That will have to do.
Aizawa Sensei whispers.
Can you see where he moves his portals?
Yes. Aizawa Sensei's fingers are like a vice when he takes one of Izuku's hand in his.
Get ready.
It seemed they almost could make it. For a few instants, Aizawa and the boy had sprinted, Midoriya pulling him away from the portals that tried to open under their feet 3 times before the 2 villains caught up with what was going on. Something is coming in front of us, Midoriya had tried to warn him as a vaguely humanoid towering figure came in from another portal to no avail. The thing was on them in a second, his fist connecting directly with Aizawa's face. Izuku is pulled back by the force of the hit as Aizawa Sensei's hand around his slips away. He hits the ground painfully, belly up, turning his head upside down as he takes in what had managed to attack them so fast. He finds himself shocked again. Whatever that thing is, it's not human. The lights are all wrong, as if someone has managed to cram a group of people in a jar. Aizawa Sensei makes a choked sound of pain, stumbling to get back on his feet.
That was a good effort, not going to lie.
The evil says, leisurely walking towards them.
But the big guy is here now, so you two will not make it far. Is All Might coming at some point, or...
What do you want from him?
Aizawa Sensei asks, his voice slightly nasal.
To kill him, obviously.
Izuku's heart shot up to his throat.
As if.
Aizawa Sensei replies sarcastic. He spits, presumably blood.
I'm more than enough for a group of cowards like you.
That seems to strike a chord as the evil's voice, that had been mostly impassable with a touch of amusement at times so far, turns angry.
Cowards!
What do you call someone that attacks in group a bunch of kids? I have other words if you want them. Wimps, weaklings, take your pick.
Aizawa Sensei keeps taunting, strangely out of character for him.
I don't even need the boys' help. I can take you on by myself. Come on, you big cowards.
That's a cue, Izuku realizes. Aizawa Sensei is telling him to run. How does he expect Izuku to run away and leave him alone with these horrible people?
Well, now you've gone and pissed me off.
The evil grunts. A strange scratching sound follows.
Nomu, take care of him. I'm going to turn the kid to dust right in front of his eyes while you beat him to a pulp.
A shiver of fear goes down Izuku's spine at those words. It's like the evil's nut light is injecting murdering intentions directly into his soul. The not human thing moves, almost hitting Aizawa Sensei, that rolls away with a grunt just in time.
What are you waiting for, Midoriya? Run!
He can't. His legs are locked. His breath is getting shorter. It's like the evil's knot light is poisoning his entire being.
Don't worry, kid. It's only going to hurt until you die.
Whatever this monstrosity is, Aizawa cannot keep fighting it for long. He already took considerable damage. He's sure most bones in his face are broken. All he can taste in the back of his throat is the iron of blood. For how hulking it is, the creature, it's frighteningly fast. The man with the hands is almost on Midoriya now. The boy is completely paralyzed by fear, trembling on his legs. The man is stretching his fingers, ready to grab Midoriya's face. Aizawa has no choice. He activates his quirk just an instant before the fingertips make contact with Midoriya, taking a full hit that literally sinks him 3 centimeters into the concrete. The contact finally snaps Izuku out of his stupor. He jumps back away from the hand on his face, his skin miraculously still in place.
That was really, really cool indeed, Eraserhead.
The evil is mumbling. Izuku's mind suddenly clears. As he'd been standing there like an idiot, Aizawa Sensei saved his life and he's now on the ground, having taken a hit of the frightening, not human thing. It's all my fault. He frantically thinks, a hiccup itching in his throat. Should have listened to Sensei in the first place. Stupid, stupid, stupid! The evil's face makes a crunching noise under his fist when the punch connects directly with his cheek. Kurogiri's eyes widen when the boy with the curly hair lands a hit on Shigaraki that was too distracted looking at Eraserhead to notice the kid and charge it to attack. Shigaraki tumbles on the floor, not making a sound. Damn, he's gonna be insufferable once they finally go back home. He has to intervene before Shigaraki goes full batshit, but the boy somehow dodges his portals with a roll. Again!
You are an annoying little fly, aren't you?
He asks, warping himself closer to the kid.
Kurogiri!
Shigaraki voice snaps enraged.
Don't try to intervene! This annoying Brit is mine!
As you wish, Shigaraki Tomura.
He replies, knowing the sarcasm will be lost on him. Well, Master cannot admonish him if he had at least tried to rein Shigaraki in a bit. Kurogiri steps back dutifully after the evil Shigaraki has ordered him to, while getting back on his feet. The knot light, it's still suffocating, but Izuku is not going to let it freeze him again. Not this time. He steels himself ready for combat. This man, Shigaraki, has a frighteningly powerful quirk, and he seems prone to let himself getting easily provoked. He might be just the kind of person that doesn't bother learning any hand-to-hand combat to share in the strength of his quirk. Maybe Izuku has a chance. Maybe Izuku can buy enough time until All Might is finally here. Aizawa Sensei, please hang on. Aizawa is doing his best not to pass out. The creature, the no move, is keeping him down, blocking him with his weight after giving him quite a beating. He must have some internal damage, Aizawa considers with a distant thought, pain flaring from his insides. His right arm is in pieces after the Nomu had crushed it between its fingers, and it is obviously considering doing the same with his left. Aizawa can't allow himself to pass out. He needs to keep his eyes on the kid. Midoriya is going toe-to-toe with the man with the hands. His movements are quick and efficient as he dodges and hits whenever he can, making the man with the hands growing more and more impatient and twitchy as their one-sided fight keeps going. But despite his clear superiority in hand-to-hand, the boy had too many close calls already. Too many times the fingers had almost touched his body. Aizawa he has to make sure to stop him if it happens. The man with the hands goes down with a grunt when Midoriya ducks away from his stretched hand and places a rolling kick on the man's ankles.
You goddamn brat!
Is this all you have? Midoriya growls, breathless. He's panting heavily, sweat rolling down his face, mixing with the blood on his cheek. And you think you can beat All Might? The man with the hands slowly climbs back on his feet, scratching at his neck obsessively.
I don't like this brat. I don't like this brat. I don't like this brat. No!
Aizawa thinks his vision blurring. He has the time to feel the weight raised from him and see a dark blur, hear the sickening crunch of Midoriya's left arm breaking as the boy let out a choked yell of pain before his world goes dark. Izuku's breath wheezes painfully through his chest after he's finally done skitting on the floor. His left arm is a flaming point of pain. He felt the bones break when he took the Nomu's fist in full force, flying away with the recoil of the hit. The open wound on his cheek pulses painfully, fresh blood starting to seep again after Izuku's face had been grinding against the concrete. He's shivering, he realizes, his teeth chattering. He can feel tears staying at his eyes as he painfully focuses to try make sense of things again. Aizawa-sensei passed out, his light a bit dimmer. Izuku feverishly scans his surroundings, trying to find anything to get the both of them out of this situation. All he can feel are the distant lights of his classmates fighting for their lives themselves, and then he feels it. A laugh escapes his lips, hysterical. "You've lost!" he says, his voice almost unrecognizable to his own ears, turning what he knows must look like a lopsided, crazy grin towards Shigaraki and Kurogiri. "He's here!" Toshinori had been having a bad feeling all morning. At some point, he bolted away from Netsu's office, unable to keep the sensation at bay anymore. He'd been sprinting towards the training grounds when young Ida met him halfway, breathless, scared, desperate. His wonderful young students, were fighting for their lives while he had been sitting and drinking tea. Unforgivable! When he finally arrives, he cannot find it in himself to smile. He sees 13 on the floor, badly wounded, young Uraraka and Ashido, fussing, tears coming to their eyes when they saw him arrive. He sees young Asui holding an unconscious Mineta on her back, hiding as best she could from the villains around her. He sees Aizawa face down in concrete, a pool of blood under it. He sees young Midoriya. The boy is attempting to stand, left arm hanging at a weird angle from his shoulder. Broken, blood rolling down his face and neck, a big red stain already on his clothing. Open wound, his eyes glistening, tears, his teeth bared like a cornered animal. He cannot smile. Unforgivable! Izuku had managed to finally get back on his feet, still shivering, as All Might stood at the top of the stair, a quiet, seething rage coming out in waves from his light. All Might moves incredibly fast. In a second, he's on Aizawa-sensei, taking him in his arms and transporting him away from danger. The second after, he's on Izuku, his big arms incredibly gentle around him, despite the haste of his movements. "Young Midoriya," he says, his voice has a quiet, almost broken note Izuku had never heard before. "All Might," Izuku hiccups. "They want to kill you. Are you out of time?" He hears a sound. It takes him a second to realize it's the sound of All Might grinding his teeth. "Do not worry." All Might's arms slowly release him as he stands. "Everything will be alright." A knot that was in Izuku's chest slowly releases as those familiar words bring him incredible comfort. "Wait!" He forces himself to say, his hand so small closes around All Might's big one. The thing, the Nomu, it's not human. It's like it has a lot of people in a single body. All Might stops for a moment, taking his words in. Please be careful, Izuku whispers. All Might gives his hand a gentle squeeze before jumping into battle. But soon enough, it's obvious things are not going well. The Nomu is fast, and taking hits like All Might is barely swatting at him. Kurogiri has opened a portal when All Might had almost managed to flip the Nomu on its back, trapping the both of them. He hears the monstrous fingers sink into flesh. Izuku never, ever, ever wants to hear All Might joking in pain ever again. Kurogiri, that cowardly bastard! Izuku's feet had started to move already. He knows All Might will be mad at him, but he just cannot stand there and do nothing. He's not the only one, he realizes. Familiar lights coming into All Might's aid. Todoroki's ice zaps past him, freezing the Nomu half stuck into the portal. Kachan's explosion makes his ears ring as he hits Kurogiri, and Shigaraki only barely manages to avoid Kirishima with a backstep and a grunt. Crap! I almost had him! Kirishima exclaims, frustrated. Don't you move, you shitty-ass shadow! Kachan is growling. The symbol of peace will not go down so easily, you idiots. Todoroki adds, glacial. And standing there between his classmates, despite his useless arm and his useless body, Izuku still feels hope blossoming in his chest. All Might is not alone. Toshinori coughs, ignoring the pain pulsing through his body. His magnificent students have yet again surpassed his every expectations, coming to his aid, stopping the villains quickly and efficiently. Young Bakugo has even individualized the weak point of one of them, keeping him in check. The Nomu, half frozen, snaps upon a single leg, leaving behind pieces of his body. Toshinori watches in horror as it rapidly regenerates the lost limbs, the man with the hands monologuing about the prowess of his creatures like a child bragging about his new favorite toy. His heart almost skips a beat as the monster immediately springs for young Bakugo. Fortunately, he makes it in time, putting the boy out of danger, taking the hit for him. His arm... The hit was incredibly strong, yet again. Midoriya had told him, like it has a lot of people in a single body. Certainly explained the creature's apparently endless talents.
Do you not have any mercy?
He spits out enraged.
We had to save our ally, didn't we?
The man with the hands replies.
Just before you arrived, one of your kids. The plain-looking one. You've been trying to give me such a beating quite skillfully. From who he learned, and for who do you think he'd been lashing out with such violence? Hero?
Toshinori grits his teeth as the man goes on and on, rambling about society and violence and whatever.
Stop trying to lead me around,
He interrupts.
You just want to have some fun, don't you?
You saw through me so quickly.
The man replies, voice lower, his eyes glinting madly behind the hand covering most of his face. Nearby, his students are discussing between themselves a plan of attack. He cannot possibly allow them to put themselves in danger yet again.
No, you must escape,
He orders. If I hadn't supported you, things would have turned out bad, young Todoroki replies matter-of-factly. Oh my, your time... Young Midoriya starts before hesitating, his right hand on his mouth.
You are indeed right, young Todoroki, and I owe you one,
He replies, flashing a thumbs up.
But now, do not worry, I will show you how it's done.
It's true that he's out of time. He needs to finish this now. He charges for the Nomu, the man with the hands attempting to belittle him yet again. But if the thing can absorb his 100%, then he will need to bring out more. Izuku can only stand there, his mouth hanging open, as All Might's light goes possibly even brighter than normal. The air shift caused by the strength of it's almost suffocating, causing all of them to be unable to move a single step forward. The Nomu finally goes down. Or, more correctly, it goes up, launched into the sky by one last punch. The not light of Shigaraki shifts and moves, clearly distressed, as he mumbles to himself something about cheats or whatever.
Now, how about we put an end to this?
All Might says. And in that moment, Izuku knows he's lying. He's out. He's completely out of time. He's bluffing. Kirishima tugs at his unbroken arm, trying to convince him to fall back, his tone not worried in the slightest, clearly trusting in All Might. Izuku is the only one that knows. They are still exchanging words, All Might and Shigaraki. All Might's light is shivering, almost about to go out. Kurogiri moves, and with him, Izuku. Toshinori is frozen on the spot. He knows that if he dares to try move a single step now, he will shift back. The man with the black mist is charging forward. All he can do now is hope his precious kids have put enough distance between themselves and the villain. A choked sound gets stuck in his throat as young Midoriya flies into his field of vision, his right arm stretched forward as if he's trying to catch the black mist, his teeth bared in desperation. The man with the hands has put his arm in the mist, reaching for the boy. A bullet whizzes past, sinking into the pale ant. Many more follow, and he knows his kids are finally safe. The other pros are here. The villains are forced to fall back as young Midoriya crashes down and rolls in front of him with a painful, choked yell. He can feel himself start to shift, steam rising out of him, concealing him momentarily from prying eyes. Cementos comes to his aid just in time, hiding him from young Kirishima that was running in their direction, calling out to young Midoriya, clearly worried for him.
I'm a fan of you too, you know,
Cementos had replied good-naturedly after Toshinori had thanked him.
Better keep your true form hidden. You should head to the infirmary right away and try not to overdo it so much next time, huh?
Toshinori sighs of relief. He wants to sink to the ground exhausted, but he limps towards young Midoriya that has managed to kneel, holding his broken arm. His eyes are full of tears when he lowers himself in front of him. I felt it, he sobs, looking up at him, pure desperation on his features. Your light. It went out. A piece of it. It went out. Forever. Toshinori blinks, watching the young man racked by desperate sobs, hanging his head low again, big tears hitting the floor. He doesn't need to ask what he means. He knows his time has shortened again after this.
I'm sorry you had to see that,
he whispers, putting a gentle arm around the boy's head and guiding it against his chest.
But it's okay, young Midoriya. Everything will be alright.
The boy sobs, shaking his head, but he melts into the comforting embrace.